AWS Made easy. We're so And welcome to AWS Made Easy. We're so happy to have Yuriy back with us. Now, AWS Made Easy, we're the show where we interview guests from AWS. We try to answer the most questions about FinOps, about cost optimization, and there's no better person to do that with Yuriy. I'm Stephen Barr.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rahul Subramaniam, and we have a packed show. And Yuri, thanks once again for coming over and joining us. And I know we have tons of very exciting stuff to talk about. You guys have been doing a ton of work that we'd love to know about. But why don't you kick it off with a quick introduction for our new viewers who haven't had a chance to interact with you during our past episodes, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me, guys. And it's always a pleasure to come back to your show and have a chat about FinOps, and all the ways how we can help customers to optimize their AWS spend and usage. My name is Yuriy Prykhodko. I'm Principal Technical Account Manager at AWS in Enterprise Support Organization. So my day-to-day job is work with complex enterprise support customers on, helping to optimize them pretty much every aspect of AWS workloads, starting from, security, the reliability, resilience, and performance and cost as well of their workloads. And I'm also one of the leads of Cloud Intelligence Dashboards project and one of the authors of Kudos Dashboard, which quite popular among AWS customers. So yeah, happy to have a chat today about anything related to FinOps and not only.
Now, we last saw each other at reInvent 2023. At the end of it, we did an awesome roundtable discussion. I'll put the link in the cards below. So have a look at that. That was really fun. It feels like that was like an eternity ago. It's only been a couple of months, but it feels like that so much has changed. You've had a Kudos dashboard launch.
Actually, there have been multiple Kudos dashboard launches.
5.2 and 5.3.
Yeah, there have been two big releases.
Yeah. We actually, right before reInvent, we released version 5, where we significantly improved performance, especially for customers with large cost and usage reports. And then now, after reInvent, we started to have these incremental releases because actually in version 5, the foundation which we laid out with these performance improvements now allow us to have more and more resource level recommendations, for customers without sacrificing, the time which it takes for visuals to load and things like that.
So I guess one big question before we jump in, all the questions. So everything you do is basically related to help customers spend less with AWS or spend more efficiently.
Yeah.
Why would AWS want you to do that? Would it be the opposite? They want to extract every cent. If you're wasting resources, isn't that great for them?
Oh, we want customers to be successful with us, right? And we want customers to get maximum business value out of their investment into AWS. So we want them to, if we talk about their workloads on AWS, we want those workloads to actually bring business value. If they do not bring business value which customers expect, we want them to optimize it, right? And we have customer obsession as our top leadership principle. So we want to work backwards from our customers' needs. And I don't think what customers would want is to pay more, right?
No.
So paying less, it's what every customer would want. And I don't think that would change over the years, right? And helping them to actually identify the opportunities to optimize their workloads and to be more cost effective, more cost efficient, that I think is a part of this long-term partnership with our customers. And that's where we can earn a trust with the customers. And in the long term, in strategic relationships, we actually can overall, make sure that we're both successful in this journey.
Yeah. I think if I were to translate Jeff Bezos' Amazon principles, the 3 business drivers or the invariants in business for Amazon to AWS, customers will always want to have to have lower costs on everything that they are running things on. They will always want faster machines, better machines, more efficient machines. And lastly, they would want more choice to do a number of different things that the choice enables them to do. So I think the same Amazon principles kind of apply directly to AWS specifically as well.
Oh yes, absolutely. And also the reason why we also like build cloud intelligence dashboards, kudos, and the rest of the dashboards in particular, because we actually work a lot with customers on optimizing their workloads, and we want to bring this all best practices and experience in the form of a tool, an instrument which every customer can reuse. So there is a lot of knowledge of technical account managers, like optimization architects, SMEs in FinOps, collective knowledge which brought in this dashboards to the customers.
Got it. So before we jump right into all the latest releases and stuff that we are really excited about, can we get a very quick overview, especially for the viewers who are new, who haven't really experienced or know about the Cloud Intelligence Dashboard or the Kudos dashboard? Can you give us a quick overview of what it is? How does one use it, or how does one access it? And yeah, that would be really great to get others started.
Oh yeah, cloud intelligence dashboards in a nutshell, it's a collection of open source and customizable dashboards in Amazon QuickSight, which every customer can deploy in their AWS accounts by running CloudFormation templates and provisioning resources such as S3 buckets, Athena schema definitions, and then QuickSight's datasets and the dashboards. And then they can use these dashboards to find optimization opportunities to track their cost and usage. And because we provide quite comprehensive details and insights into customer spending usage, they also can consolidate data across multiple organizations in one single place and have this comprehensive view and like 360 view across like all the AWS organizations which they own. And this all available as a self-service tool, so once they deploy it and they have it ready to be used. And also we don't charge any additional fees for this dashboard, so customers paying only for the use of underlying services like QuickSight, Athena, and S3. And usually the cost is very not significant, so it's around $50 to $70 per month for like pretty large customers to run this solution, which is, I would say, quite insignificant for the value which we provide.
Yep. Just one caveat there. I think depending on how you deploy the users in QuickSight, if you have users who only log in once and never again, watch out for the user count, because that number can multiply up very quickly. And ironically, the Kudos dashboard and the Cloud Intelligence dashboard will even point that out if that is the situation with
Yes.
with your
So
organization.
that's one of the new features actually that we now showing that in Kudos. You can track how much it costs you to run Kudos and Kudos. Yes.
That is amazing. So why don't we jump right in with a walkthrough about the latest items that have been released in 5.3?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me start presenting the screen. Okay, awesome. So I also want to cover, so not just 5.3 latest
Sure.
release, but like couple of releases back, because just heads up for everyone. So when you deploy Kudos dashboard, you actually get the latest version. Yes, so you cannot choose version. So once you deploy
Right.
it, you get pretty much all the recent features. Yeah. And here you can pick which one you want to cover. We have some functionality, new features around billing summary, executive month-over-month trends. We have new features around compute, storage, S3, IEML, data transfer. Pick one and let's go over it.
Perfect. Before we just jump into that, quick question, Yuri. If a customer has already deployed an older version of the Cloud Intelligence dashboard, will the CloudFormation script just update the stack set to move to the latest version automatically? Or does something specific have to be done? You have to tear it all down and start it all again? What's the approach?
Yeah, so update approach is available through, let me just go here, through our CLI command line tool. So
Great.
let me show you the dashboards, and here is update dashboard process. So it's pretty easy to update. You just log into Cloud Shell where you deployed to your AWS account where you deployed dashboards before, and then you open Cloud Shell and run these commands, like 3 commands to install CID/CMD command line tool and then to run update. The reason why we have it not via CloudFormation, because in CloudFormation at the moment there is no construct to update dashboard dashboard template version. So we use command line tool for update. But it's super easy and it's super straightforward, and it's basically the version of the dashboard. It doesn't cause any drift of CloudFormation template because it's still the same dashboard. It's the same dashboard ID, but it's just the
templates are updated.
Different version. Yeah.
Got it. Perfect. Okay, so which one do you want to dive into first under these sections?
Steven, you pick. S3, storage and backup, compute.
Let's have a look at compute.
Compute would be my first pick as well. I think
jumping right to the core of it.
It's one of the largest areas of spend across almost every customer that we've seen.
Yeah. So we have quite a lot of visuals on compute tab, and that's pretty much what we had up till now. Some different dimension of your coverage. Let me get back of your coverage by purchase option, of your amount of normalized hours which you run and covered by savings plans on demand. So many different things, your spend per accounts. And recently we added quite an interesting section to compute, which is called EC2 compute elasticity.
Nice.
So you probably know that you do not need, in the cloud, you do not need to run your servers or EC2 instances 24/7, right? The beauty of the cloud is that you can use resources when you need them and scale with the demand. So we came up with a collection of visuals here which can highlight you the resources or the accounts where you have instances which run, let's say, on average high amount of time, like near 100%. So for example, the visual here shows you the average percentage of amount of time which instances run, and the size of this circle show you the cost in the account. So for example, I can see that, hey, here's account has the most expensive, for example, instances, or the most spend on EC2 instances, and its average usage 100%.
So is this saying that they never stop their instances?
They never stop their instances.
Okay, so the percent is saying the percentage of the percentage of the time that instances are stopped.
Yeah.
So then, if I'm looking at the right, the jumps that I see, those are working hours during the week, I'm guessing.
So it's basically, it shows you now, once you selected an account, you see details per instance. So those are the instances, and you can see that they were used like 100% of time, and you can see on also an hourly pattern of this usage. So in this case, couple of those, like at some moments over the weekend, they were not covered by savings plans, because during the weekdays. So that's why you have some spikes of on demand, and you see the cost a bit grows for these instances. But
so these are elastic instances then. Would that imply that these are elastic instances and they're growing and therefore not covered by savings plans? Or is it that they were never shut off and they are static and they are being used at 100? They're just being on all the time.
They are static. They use 100% of the time. So that's what this visual represents. It also allows you to see per instance. So you can select an instance and you can see how many hours per day this instance was running. So 24 hours per day.
And then when it says usage, this is not talking about utilization. This is saying, so this could be idle. It's just on.
Yeah, it's just on. Yeah, it's just
got it.
Percentage of the time. And what is interesting here is that you can click on accounts which you want to focus on. And for example, like it's very often when customers have in account names a patterns like dev, staging. If you run dev test workloads in separate AWS accounts, that allows you to actually very easily focus on those kind of accounts. And I would say if you have instances which run 100% of the time in dev environment, well, do you really need them? Maybe you can just implement this solution, AWS Instance Scheduler, and stop them when you don't use them, when you don't need them. So like during the night times,
Yeah.
during weekends. But if it's production environment, I would also say, do you really need to run like all the instances 100%? Like implementing auto scaling would allow you to scale with the demand. So you should also, like anyway, you should see some patterns like here in this, you see hourly usage. So you should see some details like, hey, during the night we have less spent on EC2 instances. During the weekends we have also less spent. So you should see patterns like this, right? um, so that's where you kind of you can judge on your elasticity.
So when you see a graph like this kind of comb-shaped graph, would you say that that is a good usage of savings plans in the sense that you almost want the biggest rectangle you can fit in that graph, right? Because if it was all purple 100%, including the spiky workloads, you'd say, okay, the savings plan is too big and they're not fully utilizing it. So is this almost like an idealized what you'd want, almost like
This
a
is
like a power plant, right? And your savings plan is like your
I,
base load.
yes,
actually, yeah, go ahead, Yuri. Why
this
did
is
you?
like demo example. Yes, so
Yeah.
I would say it's always depends on your future plans, on your like business plans, like of your plans for growth. So like coverage with savings plans, it's very, how to say, it's uh per customer decision, right? So it's not like this approach won't fit everyone. Yes, so you need to know that your future plans for growth. But at the same time, if you have steady on-demand workloads and you foresee them happening over like next, let's say from year to 3 years, then yeah, why not to cover with savings plans? The only thing is what I would suggest is when you consider using savings plans, is also think about incremental purchases. You do not need to have this all as a one single saving plan. When you make a one purchase and you now have for 1 year you need to have this amount of workloads. You can also consider like covering 1/3, for example, of your spend, then working on some stuff like right sizing, instant scheduling, like optimization, which is
Yeah.
not related to rate optimization. Yeah, it's like usage optimization. And then over like in next 3 months you can make another portion. Yeah, so you basically will have like another portion of savings plans. So you always will have this window of 3 months, let's say, where you will have about 30% of your, or maybe like 25% of your workloads, which will be uh, not covered by savings plans, or like saving plan will be expiring, and you would be able to think, okay, should I recommit to the same amount, or I can reduce amount of savings plans if I need. So you kind of keep this flexibility with you to
Yeah.
revise every 3 months.
I agree completely with Yuri. I'll just add one other thing, I think, to where you were headed, Stephen. This is also not necessarily ideal for a simple reason that if you just think about it as an optimization problem, it is possible that a certain amount of waste in your savings plans can still get you enough of a discount on the instances that you're running on those peaks to offset the wastage. And net, you still end up saving a lot more. So
Yeah.
it's purely a function of how big those peaks are, how long they are up, and whether a certain coverage along those peaks, even if there is savings plans waste, might actually end up saving you a lot more.
Yeah.
And then now, as an aside, if you bought the wrong savings plan within 7 days, you can
You can
return them.
return the
Yes, exactly. So if you realize that it was a mistake, you maybe, I don't know, changed, like purchased it in a different region, or maybe you realized that, okay, that was not maybe confirmed with your leadership or something like that. You want to cancel it, revise it, so you can do it now within 7 days window. By the
Yep.
way, you can also here select again everything in Kudos is interactive. Yes, so you can actually interact with this visuals, and you can select only on demand. So now it will show you instances and accounts here for only on demand. And while it looks like it's spiky, you still see that there is some amount of instances which run 100% of the time.
Yeah, correct. There's one other request that I would have for a future version, Yuri, which is to showcase a list of instances which have in decreasing order, the largest difference between the amount of time that it's up. So let's say you have instances that are 100% up, but their utilization is only 20%. Like showcase those instances as having the largest breadth of waste because they're running all the time and having the shortest or the smallest utilization.
For that, we have a compute optimizer dashboard.
I know. Yeah, computer optimizer kind of will show that.
Yeah, so it shows that information, recommendations from compute optimizer, because so basically Kudos as a dashboard, it's built on top of cost and usage report data,
Right.
and we want to keep it as is, at least for like for some like foreseen future, because it also brings some ease of deployment for customers. Yes, the only data source which you need to deploy to get it up and running is cost and usage report. It's super easy, quick, and we see that customers love this simplicity.
Makes total sense.
All right, let's move on.
Can I pick databases? Anything new in databases? Because that for me is the second big exciting area of cost optimization. There's so much waste usually there.
Absolutely. So for databases, we've added MemoryDB as a service in our databases tab. So Amazon MemoryDB is now here, and it's available in all the visuals which we have. So spent per product family, per engine, per region. So you can focus on MemoryDB separately, or you can use it like in total. So it's more like filling the gap which we had. Also, in databases, there is an interesting section here, which we have released it quite a while ago, but still want to cover it a bit. So it's array coverage for databases. So what it tells you is that, like, you can have your array coverage like average 23%. But in reality, when you purchase reserved instances for database services like OpenSearch, RDS, Elasticache, you actually reserve a particular, let's say, I call it dimension. And in this case, this dimension would be its region, its then engine or its service in this case, and the instance type. So as you can see here, some dimensions are reserved at like 95%, right? But some are not reserved at all. So it gives kind of some area of thinking, okay, maybe I should review now this dimension. And you could see, by the way, with this tooltip, you could see amount of usage for last 30 days. So like it's 9.1K of normalized hours. You can also see the daily usage again. So you could see, okay, so this one,
this is all constant. So you
all
should
constant. All constant. And then I still would recommend to go and to Cost Explorer array recommendations, and check it, like exact recommendation for like to just make sure that it's aligned with the discount which you are going to get, because this is based on your just the usage patterns. You see historical usage, but it doesn't show you the discount which you get. So you can go to Cost Explorer array recommendations, check the discount which you will get, check exact number of normalized hours which you need to commit to, and you can purchase array and cover it with reserved instances.
Okay, I'm going to add one quick nuance to this for the audience. In compute, when it comes to compute, I'm not talking about databases, but specifically compute. RIs don't make any sense. I wouldn't recommend that you buy RIs at all. There are savings plans is something you could default to as a simpler, easier solution to kind of get as much coverage as you need. But alternatively, in certain cases, CRIs are also incredibly useful and can actually give you a bunch of benefits. But RIs don't make any sense in compute. On the other hand, when it comes to databases, the only solution you really have for discounts is by using RIs. We don't, I believe, have savings plans yet for databases, and we don't have CRIs for databases, but you do have RIs that you could get specifically for your database instances.
Yeah. That's totally right. So, like for compute, it's just savings plans provide you more flexibility, less administrative efforts to manage this all. For databases, Arise is the only option to get reduced rate. Let's call it like this.
Correct.
So you can use Arise for databases. What else we have here is from our recent versions is databases elasticity.
Elasticity.
The same as for compute, exactly the same approach and patterns, and databases can be stopped as well when you don't need
With
them.
the
Like
ship.
this is like
Correct.
RDS, DocumentDB, Neptune. Instance scheduler solution supports RDS out of the box, so you can
Right.
tag your databases with a schedule, and this solution will stop them when you define in schedule. And the same pattern, you can focus on just on demand, and you can focus on accounts with the most cost, for example, and then see which databases I have. So is it production, is it development, can I stop it when I don't need it? So and the last but not least part in databases is RDS extended support costs. So
yes, that's the new one.
So we actually allow customers now to run workloads on RDS engines and engine versions which are not supported by the community. So we now provide for customers extended support. So we basically supports these versions, but for additional charge. And this cost actually, now these visuals visualize for customers how much they're paying for extended support. So those instances are supported, like RDS instances, and you can find the list of instances here, but you might want to consider to upgrade them to community supported versions to eliminate this cost, and overall to keep them in some according to your probably security strategy, and I would say keeping at least like version -2 current version -3 would be like the good pattern, and running on pretty old engine versions, I would say it's more anti-pattern.
Well, then very clearly the pricing, especially that year 3 pricing, right? So for years 1 and 2, it's a little bit more than double usually, but then for year 3, it's like 5x. And it makes sense, right? You have a smaller and smaller user pool who's trying to use this older version of the software. You have to backport security fixes and CVEs to an older and older version of the code. There's going to be less people doing that, so you're going to have to maintain more complicated things with a smaller and smaller pool to distribute those costs to. So by year 3 of the extended support, you definitely have to. And I think at the end of the year 3, you will get automatically upgraded. Is that correct?
Actually, I need to double check it, but I would assume so.
I have one question on MySQL 5.7 to MySQL 8, which is the big jump. And unfortunately, though, that particular version jump has a bunch of breaking changes, like the syntax changes and so on. Are there tools, are there recommendations on how to accelerate a migration from a 5.7 to an 8? And similarly on Postgres?
I'm not aware of, let me be honest. So I would assume there are. Because it's not one customer challenge, right? So, but I'm not aware of that.
Got it.
Well, should we go? Tell you what, let's take a quick break, and we come back. Let's go to the next area. I think I want to look at S3.
All right, S3. It's also a pretty cool one.
Okay, so let's do a quick break, and we'll come back to get into the details here.
Some tools just find AWS cost savings and make you do all the work. Visualizing cost opportunities is great, but that's not enough. CloudFix, on the other hand, actually delivers those savings for you. And you don't need to worry, because CloudFix fixers are AWS recommended and easy to use. It's the only tool that fixes cost savings opportunities and doesn't just find them. It's the easiest way to save money on AWS. It's all 100% automatic and risk-free. And the best part is that it works non-stop. See for yourself. Click on the button to get a free demonstration of CloudFix and stop over.
We are back. Let's have a look at QuickSight Dashboard on Amazon S3.
All right.
So Cloud Intelligence Dashboards on Amazon S3.
Yeah, we are still in Kudos and we are still exploring what's new. So for S3, there are a couple of interesting things which we've added. And first, let me start with Insights Explorer.
Yeah.
Insights. So in S3, it's there are many different dimensions of the service or features of the service, right? You can have set up cross-region replication. You can expose your S3 bucket to be available from internet, and then you will have data transfer out costs. If you use intelligent tiering, you have fees for intelligent tiering, monitoring, and automation. So if you use transfer acceleration, it has additional cost. So these are the areas or S3 insights where you can actually select any of them and see if you have any resources which use these features, and you can see associated cost and usage. Yes. So for example, look, here is a bucket where I have some intelligent tiering, monitoring, and automation fees, and I'm paying around $10 per month. Now, if I select this bucket, you see rest of the visuals filtered based on my selection, and I could see actually interesting pattern here. My usage or amount of gigabytes in this bucket grows. I can see actually intelligent tiering in action when it moves the storage between different storage tiers.
Yeah.
And I could see that my cost is reducing. And I could see that it's reduced from around around $60 or $58 per month to let's see, $56 to $36. So I'm saving $20 per day, while intelligent tiering monitoring cost me just $10. So you actually can get into insights. By the way, those type of visuals pretty powerful for FinOps folks when they want to justify the impact of their optimization. So because you see that usage is growing and cost is reducing, so that's the beauty.
Is there a way to proactively have a version of this which will allow you to make a case for things, where you say, if I turn this on, this is what would happen, like a predictive mechanism? Because more often than not, you have to make a case for things.
Yeah, this is so for that you need to combine several sources. So in Kudos it's challenging because, as I said, we use cost and usage report, and we limit it to what is available in cost and usage report. For effective projecting, you need also to know average object size and the amount of objects in your S3 bucket. So because you also want to make sure that transitioning to intelligent tiering won't cost you more than you're saving actually. So
got it.
I would say for that, you need to join S3 storage lens data and cost and usage report data, and then you can calculate this kind of things.
Makes sense.
So here's a question. Of all the S3 buckets out there, so the S3 intelligent tiering really doesn't make sense when you have a lot of tiny objects. But for the most part, we think it does. So what do you think are the proportion of S3 buckets out there where S3 intelligent tiering doesn't make sense?
Oh yeah, those kind of, it could be buckets with, as you said, some huge amount of telemetry data, which is just very, very small files, which are usually if you have files which are smaller than 128 kilobytes, and you have huge amount of objects there. So that's usually a pattern to look for. So if it's smaller, you need then to work with pricing calculator. If you have objects which are larger than 128 kilobytes, then usually it's and also of course you need to know a bit of access patterns for your data. If the data is being always is being actively accessed for entire history, it won't make any sense to move to intelligent tiering, because it actually would always be last access time of the object would be within the 30 days period. So for example, if you enable intelligent tiering on cost and usage report, right, on bucket with cost and usage report, and then you have some Athena query every day which checks the first start date of every resource. So it goes back into entire history for every resource and checks when it was created. For example, for EBS snapshots or something like that, you want to check the start date when resource was created. So your Athena query will actually touch pretty much every object until it hits the start date, which, for old snapshots, it could be quite far in history. So intelligent tiering won't help you. So it will always keep it in standard storage, right? But if
Makes
you
sense.
have data which not accessed, where you have a lot of data which is not accessed for 30 days and more, then intelligent tiering and average object size, it's more than 128 kilobytes. It makes total sense to move it to intelligent tiering.
Excellent.
Yeah, and there are also some text here, some suggestions what you could do with this insight. Yeah, so for example, for data transfer out, if you are using this S3 bucket from AWS resources, don't transfer data to internet, use gateway endpoints. Yeah,
correct.
You using this from external, from internet, maybe place it behind CloudFront, yeah, to have better performance and a little bit lower cost.
Makes sense. Next, I actually want to jump into understanding what the cost of running the CID and Kudos dashboard actually is. So how do we find that out in this version?
Well, for that, so majority of cost of cloud intelligence dashboards actually comes from QuickSight usage.
Analysis. Yeah.
So it's in QuickSight, you pay for your users, and it's different for author users, for which you have flat rate of, as far as I remember, around $24 per month for each user, and reader users. And reader users actually pay for a session. So every time they open the dashboards, they charged some small amount, but it's kept at $5 per month. So if your users never change, never modify any dashboards, and they use basically them only to consume the information, as dashboard users. So I would suggest to give them reader access, and it would actually help you to make sure that you're paying maximum $5 per month instead of $24 per month, right? So, and new tab analytics, which we released in one of the recent versions of Kudos, helps you to actually get these insights and information. So we started analytics tab with QuickSight because we've built on QuickSight cloud intelligence dashboards, and we love QuickSight. So here you have a lot of, let me get back. You have a lot of different insights for your QuickSight spend and usage. For example, for the users in particular, you could see how much you are paying for your author users and how many author users you have. Actually, you can also drill down. For example, I want to see where I have this enterprise monthly users. I want to drill down to accounts. So now you could see in which accounts you have those users, and also you can see how much you are paying for reader sessions. So some days it's, you have more sessions, some days less. So overall, those are insights available here. If you're using QuickSight, let's say only for cloud intelligence dashboards, that would be pretty much representation of your cloud intelligence dashboards related spend. There are a few interesting things here related to users as well, because what I think, Raul, what you mentioned is that users in QuickSight can have several login accounts depending on authorization mechanism. And actually, sometimes what we see, customers provision several accounts for one user, like one through IAM, one through SSO. And now we have this visual which shows duplicating users. So basically, when the one email assigned to several different logins, while in reality, in probably 99% of the cases, it's your users use one login out of this duplicating.
Yes, I completely agree. There's one other tip for users. The beauty of QuickSight is that you can actually take this dashboard and embed it into an existing reporting tool that your users might already be using and be comfortable with, or you don't have to retrain them on using a new tool like QuickSight. You can literally take this entire dashboard and embed it into whatever reporting application that you have. It's relatively easy to do. So if there's an easier way to get this across to all of your, across all your org, you should have that option to do that. Just remember one thing: don't embed separate tabs one by one. What happens there is that if you have a user that goes to 2 different tabs, you're basically going to be charged 1 session for each tab. Instead, if you can embed the entire dashboard, that's really simple to do, and just makes onboarding way simpler.
Yeah, this demo dashboard is example of embedding. So
Correct.
it's, as you can see, it's embedded within some like HTML.
Correct. And the nice thing is that QuickSight now has amazing CSS features where you can customize it, and you can make it look almost seamless within your other application where you're embedding this in. So go check that out. We have an episode, I think we're going to put it down here, which talks about all of these new features. We had a great conversation with Joe's a few months ago, I think, or a couple of months ago, or just before Reinvent, I think.
Yes, and we did a webinar. I'll put a link to that.
Right.
That was really good. Joe's Knuckle.
Correct. So we will have that one linked over here, so you can check out all the amazing features of QuickSight, which will actually make it really easy for you to act on these insights. You can share this information. You can bring awareness of all of these insights to a broader organization. You should ideally not have more than 2 or 3 writer users set up for your reports, and have as many reader users as you want to distribute this across your organization.
Correct. And also check out the Spice storage. So here is a visual that shows you Spice storage. You can log into this particular QuickSight account and see maybe you have some amount of Spice storage available, and you can actually free up the space. So it's quite easy in QuickSight. There is also new feature in QuickSight which allows you to auto increment your Spice storage.
The Spice storage. Correct.
Yeah, so you can just say that, okay, I want it to be auto incremented when I need it, so you don't need to over provision it for some time. So yeah, some ideas for optimizations there as well. I want also to cover some new stuff which we have on IEML.
I was just going to ask you about that to see.
Yes,
that is a great way to increase your costs. I did that the other month. I left the SageMaker canvas on. That was an expensive mistake. So let's have a look at how to understand and then hopefully reduce costs on AI ML.
Yeah. So, for example, for SageMaker Canvas, here's where you can see your spend for the canvas. So you see, like in this spend by usage type group, you could see what exactly you are paying for in SageMaker. But overall, what is new? So for SageMaker, we again, like here is a section of different recommendations which we suggest to read and to follow. Yeah, for example, you can use SageMaker Studio notebooks because you can share them share them across different users instead of individual instances. Then check out your SageMaker endpoints. There is very frequent case when customers provision endpoints and then just simply forget about them. Yeah, so also here you can see your SageMaker daily spend by resource. And if you want, you can, for example, say, hey, I want to see my endpoint instances. And that's where you can see your now only endpoint instances with resource IDs and amount of usage and cost which happened over previous periods. One new thing for SageMaker which we added is this graph which shows you hourly coverage by purchase option. So for SageMaker, we have machine learning savings plans. So if you have everything on demand and you have basically constant amount of spend for SageMaker, it might be a good idea to consider covering SageMaker spend with machine learning savings plans as well. So this is new, and also it kind of is similar with a compute and databases elasticity. You can see that like this demo customer doesn't turn off their notebook instances, so like it's pretty much like constant. So again, with SageMaker, you can turn off notebook instances when you don't need them. So
Yeah.
again, leverage that functionality. Don't run them 24/7.
By the way, that's a really cheap instance for a SageMaker enabled instance.
Yes. That is,
Yeah, it's this demo data sometimes
I completely understand. I was
not
just
not
kidding.
not 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 kind of actually represents exact scenario, but at the same time that's the pattern. We also
Yeah, I
have
agree.
here a control which allows you to focus only on accelerated computing instances if you want to
so that's
just
going to be GPUs
yeah
and things like that,
Yeah.
FPGAs.
like P4DN and all the things. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for SageMaker. For Amazon
Oh,
Bedrock,
Bedrock. Great.
Bedrock, we have since last reinvent and Kudos version 5, we have Bedrock visuals, and in
Yeah.
recent release we added this visual of spend per usage type group, where we categorize Bedrock spend into some groups like, oh, this is image generation, this is input tokens, this is output tokens, which allows
Got
you
it.
to have a bit more kind of understanding how you using a Bedrock across entire organization, which is if you run like a couple of AWS accounts and you more like a startup, you pretty much know everything around
Got
about
it.
entire company. If you're a complex organization with like hundreds of business units, like having this holistic view and higher level dimensions is important to kind of being able to say, okay, as organizations we are leaning towards more this kind of
Yeah.
things.
Is there
And
a way to get this report by the model type used?
yes,
Particularly within Bedrock, which model are you using?
yes, here is a daily usage per model. So here you can see, so those generated IDs in real life, they would be exact models and model names.
Got
And
it.
actually, which is cool here, that in Kudos we consolidate all your Bedrock spend in one single place here.
Right.
So if you have marketplace modules, like third-party modules which purchase through AWS Marketplace, or like Amazon models, you will have it's all available here in one place, and you can
Got it.
focus on click on this model, and now you see in which accounts you use this model. Then you can see, oh, this model is MP, it means marketplace. So but with a model name you would also know.
So
Yeah.
with Raul, are you thinking that, let's say if you had one team that was maybe overusing Opus when they could be fine with Haiku, but you'd
Correct.
see some pie chart and say, okay, why for this account are they all Opus? That would
Correct.
be interesting to know. And maybe there's an optimization that could take place of choosing a more cost-effective model.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's exactly, and that's exactly also the reason of this diagram of this visuals is to see like in which accounts you use this model. Yeah, so like maybe also to enable a bit of cross-organizational collaboration. So now you can FinOps is about collaboration, bringing people together.
Yeah.
So here, if you know that, oh, this business units actually use this model, so maybe we need to bring them together and exchange best practices and speak about how we can actually help each other, because sometimes within organization like different teams could be just siloed, they like don't communicate. So FinOps team could facilitate this and enable this kind of conversations, which would be beneficial for everyone.
Makes sense.
And we
That's a great way of expressing it, right? FinOps just by nature has this big picture organization and say, okay, there's something going on over here and over here. Why don't you folks get together and talk to each other and sort this out?
Yeah.
That's a really neat way. That's a neat perspective.
Yeah. In one of my customers, what we actually done, for example, we identified that one of accounts started to use quite a lot spot instances. So we kind of we scheduled like knowledge sharing session, and those folks who run the spot instances in that account shared with entire organization their success story, how they managed to change their architecture to be stateless and and actually to run on spot. So it inspired the rest of the org and some other accounts to actually follow the same. Well, and getting back to IEML, we have now in latest Kudos visuals for Amazon Q as well.
Q.
Yeah.
Great.
So here, while Amazon Q is still in preview, there is no charges for users per month, but there are already charges for index usage.
Correct.
And you can see here details of your index usage. So how many hours of this unit chunks of 20K documents you had in previous months, and some insights of your queue spend per account, per region, per operation. So interesting fact that when queue will start, queue will become a GA and there will be a charges for users, you will automatically get them appearing
in
here.
the dashboard.
So you
Got it.
won't need to do anything. And also then here we go into more operational details, like how many chunks of 20K documents you have per day. So it's like one chunk. If you have, for example, increasing amount, so you might think of, oh, like I've started to actually index more documents than at more than 20K chunk of documents. So maybe I could possibly reduce them to stay within one chunk, or you can kind of think of, okay, more not about the cost now, but more about the usage details of your of queue.
Got it.
So I think that's pretty much all from IEML visuals.
Were there any other interesting updates that we should know about that we haven't covered as part of the big
Yes,
services?
there are two
Oh, month-over-month trends.
month-over-month trends. There are two interesting things. Month-over-month trends allows you to compare details like your spend per service, per account, per different dimensions between 2 months. But reality is that when we're comparing two different months, we want to compare apples to apples. But
Yes.
for example, if we compare March and February, we have 10% difference of amount of days, right?
Yes.
So I personally was in situation when I was exploring where my spike of 10% increase compared to February comes from, and then realizing, oh, we're in March. So to help with that, we have a now control, and which allows to switch from calendar months to normalized months.
Okay.
So with normalized months, we normalize
to 30 days.
not to 30 days, but to amount of days in previous months.
Okay.
So for example, now we normalize February as if it had 31 day, right? The reason why we normalize to the amount of days in previous months, because we want these months, like the previous months, to be accurate, and show you exact cost which you paying for. Then rest would be just normalized. So you see there is a difference if you switch between the calendar months and normalized months. So it's just a bit more accuracy into your month-over-month trends visibility.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and another interesting feature is in billing summary. Now, together with the spend by payer account, we provide a bit more dimensions here. It's like spend per charge type group, where you can switch now and see like how much you are paying for marketplace, for some usage covered by reserved instances and savings plans. You would also see discounts here if you have them. So it allows you to just have a bit different perspective and on this spend and usage, but also we provide ability to switch by service category. So you could see your spend to in service categories, and you could see now, oh, like I have this spend for databases, which is, for example, since December to January slightly decreased, and you can select service category here, and you could see the spend per service and which services now fall into this databases category. So you could see the services, you can see their monthly spend. So it again, that's just additional dimensions which help you to have some high level view on your cost and usage of AWS.
Yeah, all of these are incredibly valuable. If you haven't used any of them, for our viewers, you should try it out immediately. It's really, really simple to get started with it, and there's tons of amazing insights that you can use to start acting on these right away.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd like to, just as a call for action for everyone, to invite you to deploy Kudos dashboard or to update if you have the previous version. I think we will share the links right in some description.
It should show up right here.
Definitely.
And also let us know about your success stories with FinOps and how it helped you to optimize your spend and usage.
Yep. As always, please send us your feedback. We will pass it on to Yuriy. Anything that you struggled with or you loved about these dashboards. Yuriy and the rest of the team at AWS has been doing an incredible job of making sure that getting this kind of insight, this kind of information to you is made as easy as possible. So send us your feedback. We'll pass it along and hopefully have Yuriy back as more amazing stuff gets announced on the Cloud Intelligence and the Kudos dashboard.
Yeah, would love to. So stay tuned. We have, FinOps never ends. So we always keep up with new features, new services, and there are plenty of ways how we can help FinOps practitioners and organizations to optimize their spend and usage.
And speaking of FinOps, there's an event coming up for those located in Europe, right? There's the FinOps London conference coming up.
Yeah, I think on April 18th.
Yep. And are you going to be there, Yuriy, at the conference?
Yes, I'm going to be there, and I will have a chat talk with Steph Gooch, and we are going to talk about 3 watts of reducing the cloud waste.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we are going to cover different aspects and different steps you can take to reduce your cloud waste.
Awesome. So if you are attending FinOps London, make sure to check out this talk with Yuriy and Steph.
Yes, I would love to meet everyone in person and join our chalk talk, and also like just pop up to say hi, and would love to have a chat.
And of course, we've got FinOps X coming up in San Diego. That's not
Correct.
that far
That's
away,
in
2.5
June.
months.
Yeah.
There's about 80 days to go for that one. And that promises to be an even bigger and better show this year. So looking forward to that one as well.
So this is the third one. Is that correct?
This is the third FinOps X.
Yeah, the third one.
Austin was the first. Last year, San Diego was the second. And this year is going to be the third.
So still a young, burgeoning field. It's exciting to see how fast it's moving.
But growing so incredibly and so well.
Now we are a member of FinOps Foundation. We are sponsoring.
That's right.
Yeah, I think it's going to be big.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, well, that wraps up an awesome discussion with Yuriy. Thank you so much for showing us all the new features of Kudos 5.3. We really appreciate it. And thank you to our audience. We really appreciate your viewership. And we will see you again next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Some tools just find AWS cost savings and make you do all the work. Visualizing cost opportunities is great, but that's not enough. CloudFix, on the other hand, actually delivers those savings for you. And you don't need to worry because CloudFix is AWS recommended and easy to use. It's the only tool that fixes cost-saving opportunities and not just finds. It's the easiest way to save money on AWS. It's all 100% automatic and risk-free. And the best part of all, it works non-stop. Stop overspending on AWS and click on the button to start saving now.